All right. Welcome back to the Run.down over here on the Strickland YouTube channel, as well as the Strickland Podcast Network. If you are listening afterwards, the day after, Knicks pull off a victory that some may have thought would not happen, but it happened. They win 106 to 103 in Denver for the first time since 2006. So the streak is over finally. Um, and we have a lot of positive
Sam,
things
were
to
you
say
even
today.
alive in 2006?
I was alive. I was probably the age of like 7 years old, probably, but yeah, I was alive.
Did
I'm
you know
not
like the Knicks
that
were a
young.
basketball team? Were you like aware that they were like a basketball
Definitely
franchise?
was aware that they were a basketball team. But yeah, I was alive. I'm not that young. I am young, but not that young. But with me today, I got Schwinny Poo and Jeff, aka Frank Barrett 119.
We got
We
Jeff
should
with the
have
fresh haircut. We got Jeff with the fresh
yes.
haircut. We got to point that out.
Hell yeah.
It's
I'm
looking
just trying.
sharp.
I saw somebody on. I watched y'all stream last night, and somebody commenting said something insane like how sexy the three of you looked, and that you all were like fuckable or
Yes.
something. And I was like, man, I got to be up for the
Yeah.
challenge.
Yeah. Well, you got the chain going too. You got a lot of swag. Yeah, happening.
Thanks, man. Somebody once said in the comment section that I look like a soprano, so I'm just trying to live
Well,
up to
look,
the
the,
name.
the important thing is, I guess that I would fuck you, Jeff. That's the
Right back
important
at you,
thing.
Schwinn. You didn't even point out. You didn't even point out the best part of my swag, the Strickland apparel.
Oh, it's true. It's true. Oh, I couldn't see it. It was hanging.
Shout
down.
out to
Yeah.
Strickland merch. Check out the link in the description for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, where do we start with tonight's game? I mean, a lot of positives.
We got to start Julius Randle. We have to. We got to be fair. We got to be arbiters of justice. We got to be arbiters of the truth. He was great tonight. He was actually great tonight. This was not like a empty stats thing, right? Like he was actually awesome tonight. I thought, especially like I even like the bad shots he took. I was like, I could understand why he took those shots. They weren't like the shots of like, why did you just nuke this possession and take a step back jumper? He was great tonight. I like genuinely, you just got to say he was great tonight. He competed. His defensive effort in the fourth quarter. Like it's not a stretch to say his defensive effort was the key in turning the game. It's not. He was great tonight. If we're gonna shit on him when he's bad, we got to be honest about when he's great and when he's good. And he was really, really good tonight. And he deserves a lot of credit. He deserves all the credit that he's probably going to get from the MSG studio for the first time. But he was really, really good tonight, and that's all I can say. Like that's all you can say. And you know what? I want people to know this. He was really, really good tonight, and I'm happy about that. You want to know why? Because now maybe there's a GM out there. Maybe there's a GM out there that's like, oh wow, I can unlock him. We can unlock him. That's what we're hoping for. But either way, regardless of my,
there we go.
Regardless of my Emperor Palpatine,
Swisher and I are on the same, same wavelength right there.
Regardless of our Emperor Palpatine like intentions, he played great tonight, and he deserves credit for it. And if we're gonna be fair, we're gonna be assholes to people. We got to be right to them when they're good, and he was really, really good tonight. So he deserves all the credit, and that's it. That's all I gotta say. He was unobjectively great tonight. Were there things he fucked up? Yes, there are things that people fuck up every night, but he was great tonight. He deserves all the credit.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think you nailed it when you talked about that it wasn't just like the box score. Like all the box score watchers who are always like, oh, he had 20, 10, and 5. How could he have been that bad? Like it wasn't just that he scored a couple extra points. It was the way he went about the entire game. I think no play summed up the game more than when the Knicks came out of the timeout in a tie game late in the game. Randle was cooking. Randle was carrying the team, and Tibbs called it a clear out for Brunson. And Brunson missed short. And Randle was so locked in, so into the game, so into doing what he had to do to win the game that he got that rebound and drew the foul. And to me, that was the most important play of the game. It gave the Knicks the lead. They didn't look back. And it's something that we've been asking for this entire season, at least for a long time. Do things that help your team win that aren't all about you. And he was unbelievable tonight in that capacity. Very little of this game was about Randall. He made it like about him in terms of how good he was, but I'm just saying it wasn't like the game plan was let's get Randall going. It was Randall cooking and being great just within the team structure. And it's not surprising to me that, his slowest quarter per se was in the third quarter when things were sort of routine, and his best quarter came when he was playing next to Obi. I'm just going to say it, me and Sam have been saying this
No, like Jeff. Actually, I gotta say this. I gotta give you props, and I'm gonna S your proverbial D a little bit here. You mentioned this on a post game pod, I think like a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, but you were like, I don't care what OB gives up on the offensive. I don't care what he gives up on the defensive glass because it doesn't matter because he's so good. Like he's going to make it up in some other way. He's going to make it up in some other way. Directly, indirectly, it doesn't matter. This is the second time we've seen this in games, in situations where we are coming back against teams that don't have a good five on the floor, where when you go small, you can take advantage of them. And Tibbs did it again for the second time, and he took advantage of them, and he won. I'll give him some credit for it. I don't know how much credit I'm going to give him for it because I don't know if he does this if Mitch is healthy. But at the end of the day, he did do it. And to your point, like, we see, like Julius, whatever my issues with him are, there is a world where, like, him at the 5 and Obi at the 4 and, like, us playing this weird thing where, like, maybe they both get, like, 25, 30 minutes a night is possible. But, like, it's only possible if you lean into it. And tonight's not a signal that they're going to lean into it permanently, but it is a signal that if they lean into it, there is some promise there. And I think that's like what you've been talking about the entire time is that like just find ways to get Obi on the floor because he is really good and he will just find a way in enough minutes. If you play him in enough minutes, he's going to find a way to be a positive impact. And that you've been saying that forever.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And like these minutes are good for him too. Like he missed his one shot terribly. He missed that, and has he ever shot a clutch 3 in his life in the NBA? Like I can't think of a moment when he would have.
No,
to be honest, like
probably not.
So get him used to these moments. Get him feeling those nerves.
Obi? No, Obi. He was talking about Obi.
Oh yeah, Obi. Yeah, he has no experience shooting those type of shots.
Right, and his one shot was wide open, and he missed it like 3 feet left, and it's like,
and even Breen said it. Even Breen even said on the broadcast, he was like, "It looks like he rushed it." Like it's like he was so open, but it was because it was to your point. It was like a clutch moment. He definitely was like, "Oh my god, I have to get this up right the second." Like, yeah.
But I don't know if you guys saw the tweet. Somebody on the Denver Nuggets broadcast when Obi made his first 3 said, that's the one guy you can't leave open. So, like, if that's the rep he has around the league already, putting him next to Randall, how do you think Randall had so much space to operate with in that fourth quarter? People they still respect Quickly and Brunson's Brunson, and Cam, they're not gonna like just leave him alone. There's no one in the paint, and we all want Randall going to the basket.
Quintessential spacing right there.
This is I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that Tibbs actually closed with his 5 best players. It was probably. Excuse me?
No, go ahead. Finish.
Oh, I was just saying, I can't think of a coaching performance by Tibbs that I liked more than his game. Like the only complaint I could possibly have, aside from just like normal stuff.
I got some complaints. I got complaints. Well, I had no idea what RJ Barrett played.
Yeah,
half the minutes he played tonight.
Yeah, I think that's all of our main complaint right there. Like that was just inexcusable.
But
I don't know. Like it's one of those things where it's like, look, I get that maybe he was medically cleared and he's probably telling Tibbs like, I'm good to go, I'm great, I feel fucking ready. But let me tell you something. Within like 3 minutes of that game, I'm pretty sure I tweeted in within like 3 minutes of the game, I was like, yeah, I don't think he's got it. Like he's got absolutely no juice. When he was sitting there in an ISO with Jeff Green. Jeff Green made like a jab step, which by the way, RJ didn't actually react to. He didn't like if he had reacted to the jab step, I might have understood.
But like
He
Jeff
didn't
Green
react
still
to
blew
it.
by him.
Yeah. He like just did a jab step, and RJ was like, cool. And then he still blew by him, and RJ was like, oh shit, my body like wants to move so bad, but I can't. I was like, dude, he's got no juice. And that's not an excuse. Look, at the end of the day, he was on the floor.
You got
If
to
he's going to
produce.
be on the floor, he's got to be better than that. He's got to be way better than whatever the fuck that was. He was what 0 of 9 from 3. He hasn't made a 3 now in like 2 games. He is shooting something like 25%, 24%, 20, or whatever the fuck percent he is shooting for 3.
It's sub.
He's got to be way better than that.
3, yeah.
He has got to be way better than that. But I also think like Tibbs, not even just Tibbs.
Favors.
You know, like I think it's wrong to just put that on Tibbs. But this is a situation where the organization needs to protect him. Like he clearly should not have been playing in this game. It was so obvious he had no juice. Just don't play him. But I don't want to harp on that too much because I feel like it takes away.
But Schwinn, I'm sorry. I just have to jump in here because this is what I was saying this to Sam before we got on. Don't you think that Tibbs is kind of damned if he does, damned if he doesn't here? Because he got crap for sitting RJ when he was sick.
Why can't you just? Is it wrong to just be like? I don't think anybody ever have a problem with him just saying like, yeah, you know, he's a little bit under the weather, so we just wanted to protect him.
But I'm saying he did that when RJ played 19 minutes against the Thunder and he got shit for it.
No, but
I don't think anyone knew he was sick.
Under the weather.
Yeah, I don't think anyone knew he was sick.
He made up some bullshit.
OKC.
Like he didn't even say anything about that. He was just like, I don't even know if he answered it. I think
I think he said we wanted to get a different look with like Fournier out there.
Yeah,
I guess
that group had. You know, he specifically said that group had a little spirit going.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah,
that was his logic. Like he could just say, "Hey,
RJ's under the weather."
Yeah,
he wasn't feeling it.
I just wanted to try something else. That's it. It's all he's got to say.
I guess my main point is.
I do agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with your point. Like he is damned if he does, and he's damned if he doesn't, to a certain extent. But in this case, like tonight, just as an example,
the whole fan base was calling.
Was there any person, especially after the first 2 minutes of the third quarter, if you had pulled RJ, would you have been pissed?
No,
I would have been fine with it.
I was calling for RJ to be benched since the first quarter.
No, I agree with you. I said
I don't
complaint would be RJ played too much.
To me is,
I'm just saying I don't think it's a huge complaint.
It's a complaint in the sense of like, to me, it's just another point in favor of a guy who I think he takes way too much. I feel like he puts way too much weight into the words of his players. So, like, if Randall tells him for an entire year, I'm good, I'm great, play me 35 minutes a night there, he's going to do it. If you trust these guys, he's just going to do it. Like, to me, this is a night where you as a coach have to protect a player from himself. Pop wouldn't have played him that many minutes. There's no shot. Pop doesn't play him that many minutes. And obviously, I'm not expecting Tibbs to be Pop. But the point is, like as a coach, you have to know when to protect players at a certain point. He didn't do it tonight. But you're right. Let's not harp on this. Let's not make this a Tibbs decision fucking thing. It's not. There's actually a lot of fun things about this game.
Definitely.
I thought. I guess I'm a little biased here because, like, early in the third quarter when it seemed like it was starting to, like, you know, when they went on that 9-0 run under a minute, I tweeted something like, it's very clear that Quickly, Cam, Brunson, Randall, and Obi have been their 5 best players. You have to close with them. And I tweeted that fully expecting him to not do it. And
no, you're right. You're like, and you're right. He deserves all the credit. He deserves plenty of credit for that. I would say he deserves, like, the annoyance I have is mostly that he didn't
try it sooner,
turn to that earlier. Like, Cam didn't play that many. Like, he could have done that sooner in the third quarter, and staggered a little bit, brought Rose in, whatever. I don't want to like shit on Tibbs here because I agree with you. Like, he found the right five to close the game with. He picked it, and they won the game for him. And also he brought Sims back in at the right time. He
Yeah,
brought Sims back in at the perfect time in the right position. And Sims was great on that possession, by the way.
he was so great.
But like but like I think Quickly was awesome in this game defensively. This is like the third or fourth game in a row where he's just been an absolute stud on defense. And Obi, like, did he have the greatest offensive game in the world? No. But
but he
but
still did
that's
some
actually
things that were good.
yeah, and actually, like it's even more encouraging to me that like he didn't have such an amazing individual offensive game, but he was still part of units that ultimately won
We're
the game. Like,
largely positive, yeah.
Yep.
dude, like he is not just a guy that only gives you value anymore when he scores. Like IQ has been a guy that gives you like the greatest thing about IQ to me is you can ask him to do multiple things, and he can do all those things, and he can help you win games.
Jack of all
I have
trades, Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, I have never known that or necessarily believe that to be the case with Obi, and I don't still think that's the case with Obi. But like to see a game like this where he was not amazing offensively, but he was still critical to units and lineups that it helped you win the game. That is a very, very positive sign.
And by the way, Quickly was really good offensively too. He had 6 assists and 1 turnover, and his 1 turnover was that stupid 24-second shot clock violation where he thought the regular clock was the clock, like clearly.
Yeah.
But he was dicing that defense. He called for that Conchar switch like 4 times, and he set something nice up every time. I thought he was really good on offense. One of his better offensive games.
He's absolutely the best. I tweeted out he's absolutely the best lob passer on the team by far. Like it's like not even a comparison with anyone else. Like the way he's just able to set up guys.
Yeah, like the one to Sims tonight was.
And if we're gonna do the Tibbs credit thing, I think Tibbs deserves a little bit of credit. For sticking with Rose, who was not cooked. He was not cooked tonight.
He played a good game.
He played all right. He made some shots. But the thing with Rose, ultimately at this point, is like he's just got to make shots. If he doesn't make shots, then he has no value. But he made shots tonight. So I would still prefer to see Grimes over him if Grimes is healthy. But look, until the Knicks beat grows a pair and asks him an actual genuine straight up question of like, is Grimes healthy? Can he play? We won't know, but they won't do that. I mean, I know they're really tough. No, they're really tough though, and nobody wants to handle them, and that's why they didn't have introductory press conferences for Jalen Brunson and RJ Barrett.
And by the way, Schwinn, something you've been talking about for dealing with for I don't know a season and a half now, which was proven again tonight. Everyone, because you're like the most followed of anyone, and you're fucking like sometimes I get bored and I'm like, I wonder what the comment sections of a Schwinn tweet look like, and they're always just hell. They're always just utter hell. And the one thing you deal with more than anything is when you talk about like, oh, the Knicks are really good with Quickly and Obi on the court. Maybe we should do that more. Everyone always says, oh, but they're only playing bench players, and that's the only reason why. Well, here we go. We get another game.
That logic.
Well, look. They only played bench players tonight. Zeke Naji was on the floor, so they only played bench players. That's it. That's all you can say. Right?
And again, like
that logic is so flawed and stupid. I hate it.
They played against the Stars tonight, and what a shocker! It didn't just fall off the map. Like it didn't. It just.
I mean, there were so many instances last year of them playing against other teams' starters and like kicking their ass. Like the Bucks game early last season, when they made that comeback, or they almost made that comeback, it was legit Obi and IQ with Derrick Rose and Alec Burks and Taj Gibson versus Giannis and Drew Holiday and Middleton out there on the court. Like, what are we doing? Like, this fan base. But before we get into comments that probably address more of the topics that we do want to discuss, everyone's favorite part of these shows that everyone cannot skip right now. NBA fans, the wait is over. Basketball is back, so tip off the season with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can make any $5 NBA moneyline bet and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Check this out. In addition to the usual bets, everyone can boost their winnings up to 100% with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, and place a stepped up same game parlay today. With payouts bigger than ever, DraftKings Sportsbook is where I go to bet on the NBA. Looking at some matchups for tomorrow or today, depending on when you're listening to it. Um, we got just a whole bunch of late games, all at around like 10 and 10:30. That's weird. Who scheduled this NBA schedule? Um, Portland Trailblazers facing the Nets. Ooh, Nets are on a West Coast swing. They just got smacked by the Kings the other day by 1,000,000 points.
It's
I
fine. They have
would
anti-Semi coming back, so they're good.
I would take I wouldn't take any Blazers players overs just in case like this is like another blowout, but I would just take Blazers money line. Simple as that. Download this DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TBPN. Make any $5 bet this week and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with promo
Am I allowed
code.
to make a betting recommendation?
Sure.
Portland is 11-3 against the spread. Just gonna throw that out there.
Okay, so take the spread.
And Brooklyn is 6. They're a very nice 6-9 against the spread. So
All right, yeah. So, all right, there you go. There's that all the advice that you need.
The line is like shockingly low. It's 1.5 right now.
it's
Wow.
because it's a star value. The NBA runs on star value, and
KD versus Dame.
like the Knicks were getting 3 tonight. All the
Yeah.
sharps bet that shit down. They bet that down heavy. I think it closed at 1.5, but like,
Oh,
they were
nice.
getting-
I actually got it at +3, so I guess I'm
yeah,
sharp.
so did I.
we're sharp.
But like,
man.
I had a lot more riding on this than just pride. But like, it was it was a great win. It was a great win. It's a great win, and especially in this city. Let's go.
Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes and show description for details.
My bad. I just totally blew up your spot.
Oh man. All right. Let's get into some comments. All right, we just Tyrese's comments, so we don't have to get to those. We have
I think no. Like, let's get to this one. It's a very important question.
all
Is
right.
Schwinn the only one drinking Coors Original Tall Boys? I am. I'm the only real fucking gangster on here, bro.
I'm drinking some water because I'm going to sleep for work soon.
Yeah, I'm going to sleep at work soon too. I'm just built different, I guess.
I guess so.
I had dinner with my family tonight, and my dad had a margarita. So I guess I kind of had a margarita, So I'm drinking with Schwinn.
Is that how that works? Like you get one like just like
By
being-
association.
I get it by association. My dad's cool. I came from him, so I'm kind of cool.
Also from James Marcetta, Mr. Dolan had a great game tonight. I agree. Shout out Mr. Dolan. Shout out James Dolan, owner of the
He's
team.
enjoying paying the
All right.
players of this team.
No more James Marcetta comments. Fuck him.
All right. So how do we feel about Grimes tonight? So I mean, he obviously didn't play, but a lot of fans are definitely upset. I tweeted out today that since RJ didn't have it going, and I know Thibs is like really big on like using the height excuse, like when he's like talking about matchups, like, oh, we wanted this player because he matches up better due to his size, all that BS that Thibs usually comes up with. I thought, hey, if he's going to stick with that logic and RJ just doesn't have it going today, why not just try Grimes tonight? I mean, Grimes is one of your better point of attack defenders. The Nuggets were obviously hunting RJ in a multitude of situations. I mean, you had guys like KCP and Bones Highland and Jamal Murray just actively searching out RJ Barrett. So like maybe just try someone like Grimes if you want to stick with that height BS excuse. But I was more than happy with having Quickly out there deal with that and Cam Reddish. So I'm not complaining there. But I would have liked to see Grimes.
You're Cam fam now? Is that
no? I'm not.
That an
I'm
admission?
not. I'm
So you're
not
Cam fam.
No.
So what I'm hearing is that you're Cam fam here.
I did not say that. I am pleased with how he's been playing. He's put together a string of consistent games, which is all I've ever asked of him to do. So I can't complain. But how do we feel about, I guess, this decision?
I feel like it's pretty tough to comment
Harp
because
on
we
it,
just
right?
don't know. We just don't know. Like
Mhm.
if he's getting DNPs because Tibbs likes a 9-man rotation and he's 100% healthy, it's a disaster. Like there's no argument it's not a disaster because you can't justify it. Like I don't care that he had like a couple of rough stretches when he was trying to come back from an injury. You make a 10-man rotation work with staggering, or you say, all right, man, like nice game tonight, Derrick Rose, but sorry, like we'll send you to a contender if you want, or you can wait for somebody to get injured. But Grimes getting 100% healthy scratches would be inexplicable. The thing is we just don't know. Like they could just be suiting him up and he's 80% and Tibbs is like, look, you're really important to me. I really like you. And I'm just going to wait until I know you're 100%. So that's my best answer.
Fair, fair, pretty fair. Schwinn.
um, I have actual no thoughts on like Grimes not playing the last two games. Like what Jeff is saying. I don't know the medical situation. That's fine. Um, if he was healthy the last two games and Rose played over him, that'd be a problem for me, regardless of the results of the games.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really big problem. Like, I like first of all, I want to make this very clear. He was not untouchable in trade talks. Okay, he was untouchable in like very very specific scenarios. Nobody knows what the scenarios were. Nobody knows what the hell any of the final offers to Utah were. There were clearly very very many offers. I don't care. I'm over
After you
this.
said
I think
untouchable, most Knicks fans probably just tuned out after what you said.
maybe, yeah, maybe,
Because
maybe.
as soon
Like,
as they
look,
hear untouchable, they
yeah,
just run with it.
they don't know. They don't know. But like, look, the entire thing. I never wanted them to trade for Donovan Mitchell, so I'm fine with this. I'm fine with how it worked out. But he needs to play. He's got to play. They got to find him minutes. Um,
He's really fucking good. I mean,
I, I honestly like. I liked what Rose gave us tonight.
yeah, Rose played well.
I
I
don't
mean,
think what
he hit
anything he gave
shots.
us. But and like that's that. But that's his entire value. His entire value at this point is just related to like hitting shots. He doesn't really provide as much value anymore as a decision maker offensively. I actually hate when he initiates offensive sets. I think Quickly's way better than him at it. I don't
And I
like
think that Thibs has trusted him to like do that now.
has I don't know if Tibbs has touched him to do it. I kind of just feel
A
like
little
Quickly's
bit
like,
more than before, I
yeah.
believe.
No, see, I think it's
It's
more
not
just
all the
Quickly
way
being.
though.
I kind of think it's just Quickly being like, actually, I just think I'm better than you. I'm not joking. Like I really think that's what it is. Where it's like he's
I could
just
see
kind of
that.
like, I'm better than you now, actually, and so I'm gonna do this more. Because I don't think Tibbs has ever shown in his career an ability to
Trust the young guy.
not just trust the young guy. That's the wrong way to put it, but I don't think he's ever shown the ability to help manage the transition of usage that occurs in certain
Mm,
situations.
the changing
Um,
of the guard.
yeah, he's never shown that. That was a big problem for him at the end of his time in Chicago, when Rose was clearly on the decline and Butler was very much on the upswing.
Mhm.
But like tonight, I mean, I thought it was fine. I thought well, quickly took like 5 shots I think tonight. Barely shot tonight, but he didn't barely shoot tonight because he didn't like have opportunities to. I just thought he played such a really really good floor game. Like I just really think he did a good job of putting the team in a position um when he had
And he
the
was a touch
opportunities.
hesitant. A touch hesitant.
Maybe a little bit, but like as
Mhm.
soon as Brunson and Randall came back in the game, I think he was just running sets. Like
Yeah.
I thought he was just running sets. And I didn't mind that because, like, one, Randall had it going tonight. And two, I trust Brunson to get it going when he needs to get it going. And three, he was still giving you everything he gives you defensively, which is a lot, which is like a lot. And it's also to the point where I think he's super underrated. Um, I mean, I thought he's underrated forever, as you have, Jeff. But like this year, especially, his defense to me has taken it's like
That
a
last possession
parabolic.
was special.
It's
I
a
mean, he
it's
He's
it's a
a,
stayed with them longer.
parabolic.
he's an all NBA
Yeah.
he's an all NBA defender if he gets the minutes, and it's
Yeah.
not close. He
No,
played
I
on
mean he even if he gets the minutes, he won't be because there'll always be these bullshit fucking things like, oh, he's not that big. Oh, like there are always these fucking things for like why he's
Mm.
actually not good at what the numbers say he's good at, right? Like that's the whole thing about his career, and we know this from Knicks fans is that like actually he's not he's not actually helping the team win the game when he's on the floor, even though all of the metrics, every single metric, aside from like his field goal percentage tells you that he's helping you in the game, he's actually not. So the big secret of the quickly is he's actually not good, and there's this huge numbers conspiracy that is making you think that he's good at basketball. But the important thing to remember is that he's actually terrible at it. No, he's fucking really good, and you're right. Like I agree. Like he's an All NBA defender so far this year. He won't get the credit for it because he'll never get the credit for it because he's 6'3" and he's a non-traditional defender and he does things that are not unspectacular, unglamorous. He's not a lockdown one-on-one ISO defender. Although he did put Jamal
Jamal
Murray in
Murray in
fucking jail.
jail.
Put that motherfucker in jail tonight. But like, look, I don't care, man. I wouldn't trade that kid for anybody in that draft class other than like what his draft class was who? Who were the top picks in that one? That was the Wiseman one. So it was Ant, Wiseman,
Desmond
LaMelo.
Bain, Tyrese Maxey, those dudes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, look, I don't care. I wouldn't trade him. Maybe
Oh,
I'd probably
we
give
actually had someone
I
that asked if IQ can make all one of the all defensive teams. I mean,
I mean he
I would
can if
love
these
for
motherfuckers
him,
have brains.
but they don't.
Yeah. I mean
the
all
te-
defensive team.
the team is just it's just unbelievable. Like so they only gave up how many points did they give up tonight? They only gave up 103 points
103.
tonight. So they gave up 103 points tonight. The team's defensive rating with Emmanuel Quickly on the court obviously went down, which should be impossible basically because it's so low. With Emmanuel Quickly on the court, they're giving up 101.8 points per 100 possessions. Lowest on the team, not even close, not close at all. With
What's the
Emmanuel
next
Quickly
closest?
on
Just curious.
Obi at 104.1, but he plays all
Terrible
these minutes.
defender, by the way. He's
Yeah,
a
no,
terrible
he's a
defender.
fine defender, but like he also just plays, a lot of his minutes with Quickly.
Mhm.
But here's where you really see it. When Quickly doesn't play, the Knicks give up 119.5 points per 100 possessions, an 18-point difference. And again, no one is close to that high when it's off. His gap, he's the lowest when he's on and the highest when he's off, and neither are close. Like, he's the team's most valuable defender. I'm sick of people saying he's too
I don't
small.
care. I'm just saying he is the best prospect on this team. He is the best young prospect that we have. He is the guy that is the closest to making a star leap. Because I'll tell you this: all he has to do to make a star leap is this:
Shoot
make
40%
more
from three.
shots.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's it.
Make more shots. He makes more shots. That is an all-star. That is a full-blooded all-star.
I mean,
you drafted
if his
and
coach lets him
developed
be.
around.
I mean, we saw at the end of last year the sneak preview of
Well,
what
no,
that
but he
looks
only
like.
He only played against bench guys at the end of last show.
You're right. My fault.
Okay.
My fault.
No,
Let's
but
get some
I love RJ. I love RJ. But if we're gonna be real about RJ, like forget tonight's game. Forget the last game. Let's just chalk those off to he's tired and
sick.
Sick and whatever. If we're gonna be real, if we're gonna be harsh with our boy, who I love, has he really been more impactful than Cam Reddish this year? I don't think so. I don't
don't think so either, but I'm not my Twitter handle is named after him. That's just that, and I was the first one on this post-game show to just jump ship and be like, I'm on the Cam hive, I'm in. But man, that's such a change from 2 weeks ago or from a month ago.
I love him. I still believe in him. And I think some of this stuff is based on like I don't think he is necessarily bought into what Tibbs is selling him right now. But like at the end of the day, like I think he's just got to be better than what he's been. And if we're just judging on what we've seen this year, just this year, which is look, let's be fair, it's 15 games. It's been pretty unimpressive, aside from like stuff related to what he does in the drive, which I've vocally talked about. But like his defense has fallen off a fucking cliff.
Yeah, it's been bad.
He was
and
awful
then he's got
awful defensively.
Yeah, just
I mean they were hunting him.
Yeah, and like maybe some of that tonight was just he just was not shouldn't have been on the floor. But like, yeah, like it was terrible, flat out terrible. And then offensively, you're talking about a guy that like he goes through these bouts every few games where it's like he can't make the right decision because he just gets frustrated. And it's like, can you grow up? Like, which look, I'm 78 years old, so it's easier for me to like, I need to grow up. But like, I need a 22-year-old professional basketball player. No, for real though. But like, I know it's not that easy.
There are moments he does need to, just pick up your.
He needs to be like you,
shorts,
Sam. He needs to be a good role model for children.
Oh man! And they say Knicks fans don't criticize RJ. Where do they get these fables from? Let's get to some more comments. JL, he says, still think 10 threes from Randall through 3/4 is a bit much from him. Whoa, almost said something else there. He's taking more threes per game than his fake shooting year. Okay, that's interesting tidbit. Didn't know that. It does seem that he does taking more. Tonight he did have it going. I think that really catalyzed the team. Is that a word? Catalyzed?
Yeah.
He was a catalyst for the team.
Okay. It can be if you want it to be.
Okay, yeah. His threes really catalyzed.
Catalyze the verb. Catalyze is the verb.
Sure, it is okay. I'm good. Okay, thank you. I thought I was making up a word there, but thankfully I'm not. But yeah, I felt like his threes really catalyzed the team early, especially when RJ just didn't have it going. And Jalen Brunson just didn't really seem like he was going to be as assertive to start the game. So he really picked up the offense from jump. And I thought it was going to be similar to the Minnesota game where he started taking bad shots and they were going to go in, and then it was going to encourage him to keep doing that. But he stayed within the offense. Credit to him. Tonight's performance of his it's why he's so polarizing and why he's so frustrating as a player for this team. It's because like, okay, you give us this performance, but like in 3 games, are we going to see the same effort when you're like not as involved? Like,
I think we are. I actually think we are. I think
okay.
I'll say it because I think I'm going to be the only one who is on this island, and I'm happy to stand on this island. I would be very disappointed if he played a game like tonight, saw all the ways that he can contribute without like playing heliocentric 2021 basketball, saw it directly result to a win that he was the hero of, that it wasn't anything like those 2021 games. I would be super, super disappointed. And I'm open to being disappointed. I'm open to having my heart hurt again by Julius Randle. I'm not saying I'm totally sold, but I'm just saying I do think there's a greater than 50%.
A cover for your heart. Can I like buy you like a cage for it? Like,
I just think that he saw for the first time what doing the little things and making winning plays in a non-scoring way, he saw the direct result of that, and that's got to feel so good. And I just, more than anything, as a Knicks fan, like you guys were talking about earlier, I do believe somewhere that trading Randall is the best for the franchise. But I'm more than anything, I'm a Knicks fan, and I'm rooting for the guy, and I just really believe that he's gonna use this as a jumping off point. That doesn't mean he's gonna have 30-point nights every night. That doesn't mean he's not gonna have defensive lapses. That doesn't mean he's not gonna be a friggin' no energy. He had those tonight, but I think we're gonna see more good than bad going forward. And I just want to say, I'm sorry, I'm going on a little bit long here. I just want to say one more thing about the comment before about the threes. I think him shooting more threes is a good thing because he tends to shoot threes off the catch, not off the dribble. And if he's shooting more threes, that means he's operating within the flow of the offense. If he's shooting more mid-range shots, that means he's getting mid-range
Initiating his own.
ISOs and he's operating more in the land of Julius per se. So I think, yes, we want him at the basket more.
It's a good way to call it, the land.
we want him at the basket more. We see all the time him around the basket, how good that is. But it's hard when you don't have a lot of space. So if you want him at the basket more, play him with Obi more. But as long as we have these team limitations where there's not a lot of space, me personally, I'd rather he caught and shot 10 threes a game than had him ISO from 15 feet 10 times a game. That's me. And I think that's better for the team.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I like the land of Julius thing. That's definitely a good way to call that area he likes to operate in. But yeah, I think that's a fair point to make of like when he is taking that many threes, it is a result of him. There are those times where he does like to initiate his own threes, and that's like really when he really has it going. I don't really like those shots that much, but you know, if they're going in, I guess I will stomach them for the moment.
Less is way more with Julius. Less is way more. I don't care about his assist numbers at all. I don't care if he has 0 assists. What I care about is how many self-generated shots he has. Because the more self-generated shots he has, the worse he is. That's a consistent thing. Like, aside from the COVID year, aside from his All-NBA year, where, you know, which is totally legitimate and we should hang our hat on that forever. If you're a fucking moron, maybe you should do that. But, like, normal people would be like, all right, that seems like a total outlier compared to the rest of your career. So let's do that. He's not a good self-generated player. He's not a shot creator. He's not somebody who's going to be the central core of a shot creator as a shot creator of an offense. But to Jeff's point, there is a role for him. There is a world view for him where he can help an offense. Will he buy into it? Will he have a coach who puts him in a position to do those things? Is this an organization that will do it? We don't know. Because I think there's a pretty good argument. I'd make this argument right now. They actually be better off trading Mitchell Robinson for literally nothing and just rolling with Randall, Obi, Hart, Sims as the proverbial 4 or 5 options for the rest of the year. And for the rest of the next 2, 3, 4 years. Like, not that it would come to that. I mean, obviously they would make moves, but like, point being is Mitch being here, and Jeff talked about this before. I think Jeff talked about this, and actually Benji was probably the first person to talk about this. Before I think Benji even talked about this literally like as soon as Mitch signed his contract, where he was like, "It's fine, but like this literally just restricts Obi, and that's a problem." And he was right, and anybody that brought that up at the time was right. Like Obi is he's just too good right now. Like you have to find a way to get this. You got to get this guy on the floor for 25 minutes a night. You have to. You got to find out what it means in any context for him to be on the floor in 25 minutes a night. He's too good. He's too impactful. He makes too many shots. He does too many fucking things that add value and add wins. That's the reality. And like, I feel the same way about IQ. And with IQ, I think it's more straightforward, and I think it's less complicated with IQ. It's just like, can you just get rid of one guard, or even just like keep doing what you've been doing, which is slightly annoying, but he still plays a lot, so it's like whatever. I can deal with that.
Shout out with the Obi. Shirt
ooh, there we go.
That's sick.
That is sick. But like with Obi, it's like we got to commit to that as an organization. If we don't, man.
So Schwinn, what about this, in my opinion, very easy fix in your world with Hartenstein, Sims, Obi, and Randall as the 4-4s? Tibbs makes his 5-minute substitution like he does every first quarter ever. With now it's quickly Rose and Sims coming in for RJ, Brunson, and Hartenstein. Let's just make that Obi quickly rose for Hartenstein. And then when Randall comes out, you cross sub. Sims comes in for Randall. Obi plays from about the 5-minute mark to, let's say, the 9-minute mark of the second quarter. That's an 8-minute shift with a break in between. Obi sits the next 5 to 6 game minutes, comes in at the under 4, closes the half. There's 13 minutes a half. Boom.
What happens when Mitch comes back?
2 shifts. Oh, no, I was just saying, in your world where we only have these 2 centers, I think that's a pretty easy fit.
I'm with you. Yes. Yeah. You sign me up. I'm there. I write it in fucking marker. I'm there. I am there in any type of, pen or any type of permanent signature that I'm allowed to give. I give it. But we won't see it. We won't see it. And look, ultimately we can sit here and bitch about Tiz. Me and Sam, we've talked about it. It's we can sit here and bitch about these guys, but it falls to the front office. That's what it is.
Yep.
So until
they're enabling it.
Yeah, until they feel it necessitates a difference. I think we're just better off talking about the fun things that happened tonight. Because it went.
Don't you guys feel like
can we just talk a little bit about Cam? Can we talk a little bit about Cam? Sorry,
what's that? Oh, I was just gonna say, don't you guys feel like we're closer?
We are.
So
we're
ideal after tonight. Don't you feel like tonight was a step forward?
I will say this: if all you did is for the rest of the season, you just replace all of Rose's minutes with Grimes, I would sit here and tell you that I have issues with Tibbs and bitch about Tibbs and whatever. But I probably would not have a huge problem. I wouldn't have a problem with them just keeping Tibbs until the end of the year if that was the case. If they just played out the rest of the year, except what we saw tonight is that Grimes took Rose's minutes and Mitch somehow disappeared forever, I would be fine. But we know that will never happen. So, but I do think, I think Cam Reddish, he deserves his own conversation. I think he was awesome tonight. I think his defense, look, if we're gonna shit on Tibbs, which we've shit on Tibbs, I think he deserves a lot of credit for the defensive development of a lot of the players on this team. And I think Cam is maybe one that is, we talked about this last year. I think when we acquired him, Jeff, we were yeah, no, he's probably somebody who's going to benefit from Tibbs's militaristic, platoon, development. But he is, and I think you're seeing it right now. He's awesome right now. His defensive stuff right now, even when he's behind, he's at least behind now in a way that he can still impact the play. Whereas before he used to be behind the play where you're just I hate you so much, dog.
he's leveraging his length.
Yes, he's getting into the lanes and he's just poking the ball when dudes are just passing by him. I mean, there were so many instances in the first
he is
half.
Poking balls.
But yeah, in the first half, there were so many instances where dudes were just driving near him and they were just losing the ball, and it immediately led to fast break opportunities for the Knicks, which they thrive in so heavily, which was very encouraging to see. But we don't get to see that often.
He had a play against Utah, which in a thread I made. What?
The block?
No, not the block. The block was beautiful. But he had a play where he started on the right wing and he was trailing a guy in the corner. And the guy in the corner ran around, not one, it was a double screen on the perimeter. And Cam skirted both of them. He skirted Lowry and then he skirted Vanderbilt. And the guy got the ball and Cam trailed him. And then Randall actually slid over and helped. And he immediately turned around, immediately noticed where Randall was, immediately switched back onto Randall's guy, who was Lowry Markkinen, denied the ball using his right hand, using his length, didn't let the pass happen. Lowry tried going back door, and he immediately turned on his foot.
Was he trying to pop, or was he trying to go to the? He was trying to pop.
He was first trying to pop. Lowry's first trying to pop, and Cam denies it. And then Lowry goes back door, and he just turns on his heel and uses his left arm, strips the pass, strips the backdoor pass, and we get a transition opportunity because of it. It was one of the most impressive defensive plays, definitely the most I've seen from Cam. It was so much happening. It was his length, it was his effort, it was his screen navigation, it was all these things wrapped up in one. I sound like such a nerd right now, but it was just so wonderful to watch, and he's just been so good defensively. It's just please keep getting better. And
I don't think you sound like a nerd at all, because I think like these are the things that made him a huge net negative for a long time. Is like all this shit. Like didn't do any of that stuff defensively. Did none of the essentials. Did none of the fundamentals. Did none of the small details. And he's doing that now, which is why he's fucking starting, and which is why he's impacting winning. Like he is flat out impacting winning right now. Like we can just say that. Like the last 2 games, especially, he's impacting winning. He's making winning plays. He is making
3 now.
rotation. Yeah, like
I mean, he didn't win the OKC game, but he was a winning.
Schwen, to your point, what is everyone always says that, and it's especially almost. I'm not gonna say it's true, but it's more true with the Tibbs lineup. Everyone always says that sometimes net ratings and plus
Tibbs just wants to win.
but everyone always says these net ratings, these individual net ratings, are impacted by the units you play with, and sometimes you can be misled by them. Cam Reddish has now started more games than he hasn't started. I could be wrong about that, but he started enough and he's played with the starters enough. Here are the team individual net rating leaders right now. Number 1, obviously, Emmanuel Quickly. The Knicks are plus 6.1 per.
Wait, hold on. Let's do a round of applause. Emmanuel Quickly, number 1, baby.
Number 2,
over here,
Obi Toppin. Number 2, Obi Toppin plus 3.9 per 100. Number 3, Derrick Rose plus 2.9 per 100. Number 4, Cam Reddish plus 2.8 per 100. The only starter who's a positive. The only one.
Yep.
Brunson's a small negative. RJ's a little bit of a smaller negative. Mitch and Randall are slightly bigger negatives. And Fournier is ridiculous. But the fact that Cam has rose above that, and he is now a part of these winning lineups that are winning. When we do diversify and we do,
I love everything I'm seeing from Cam, dude. I like his mentality.
So
I think the way he's responding to stuff. I think he's embracing his role, and it's not an easy role to embrace, because you look at the fucking usage of some of these guys that are like that in that exact role that he's in, right? So we've seen games where Grimes starts in that position or Fournier starts in that position. You don't touch the fucking ball a lot. You don't. So you got to stay engaged. He's staying engaged.
And you got to make the most of when you get the ball, too.
Yeah, he's finding a way to make an impact. And then when he gets on the floor and he gets a chance, this dude is making shit happen, especially the last couple of games. He deserves a ton of credit.
My favorite thing of his...
Especially from the haters ball over here, Sam.
I was just about to. I was literally just about to say what my favorite thing of his that he's been doing lately, which is something that.
Yeah, but I had to call you out. I could sense it. I could sense it.
Oh my
god! So
gosh.
I could call you out before you did it, but I could call you out.
But yeah, my favorite thing of his that I've criticized of him in the past is like him embracing the contact when he goes to the rim. Like he is finally embracing the contact, and he is able to finish because he's like 6'8" and he's long as hell. And he's able to just finish over the top of guys. And before he was like trying to like Euro and do all these wiggles in the air and stuff, and like he was like losing the ball. It's like, dude, you're like 6'8", like act like it. Like
he still has a little of those. He still has a little bit of these weird.
He still does
where he like tries to like do something, and I'm like
up and unders up in the rim.
Ball? Yeah, like how did you just lose the ball there? But I'll say this. I wish that RJ would just do some of the stuff he did sometimes.
Yes.
Like the straight line drives in transition. I'm like you're built, like you look like I don't know how to explain this, which in a way that makes any sense. But if anybody has ever seen the movie Alien, like the fucking little alien comes out of the guy's stomach, right? And it's like a fucking little ball of muscle, right? It's like RJ is that thing, but he is built like 250 pounds. Imagine if that thing drove into somebody and was like, you know what? actually, instead of trying to draw contact, I'm gonna avoid it entirely and try to make a finesse layup. Like that's what RJ does constantly. And
It's so frustrating.
what you're talking about right now with Cam is he physically overpowering guys? No.
No,
But what he's
he's
doing
just
is he's
utilizing
embracing
he's
the
leveraging
yeah. He
his tools that everyone loves.
yeah. And he's also just like, okay, I have a straight line drive. I'm going to the rim. You can meet me there, but I'm going to meet you there. I'm gonna meet you there, no matter what. Like, I want to see RJ do that instead of this fucking bullshit where Kelly Olynyk will be in his path and he's like, I'm gonna try and euro around him and go like, you don't need to
Or he
euro
tries like
around Kelly
or he
Olynyk.
tries to pinball off dudes and like
Yeah, like
does the little fadeaway stuff. It's like,
I
no,
hate
dude, you are built strong as hell.
yeah, like the way
Utilize
like
it.
you're trying to get contact by acting like a bitch, basically. And it's like actually the way to get foul calls is to just run into these guys flat out. Like that's actually the way to do it.
Basically.
But look, RJ's got to deal with his own bullshit, but forget him right now. Cam has been really, really good, and look, let's see what he ends up as at the end of the year. But like,
And let's
if
see
you're
if
the Knicks front office, if you're one of the guys that was like, let's pull the trigger on this deal, let's do this for this value, this is fucking worth it. You gotta be feeling pretty good because you don't get 6'8" wings with a 7'1" wingspan that can do the things this motherfucker does
for Kevin
at
Knox.
that pick. Like the Knicks essentially traded the 19th pick in a draft to get Cam Reddish.
And
Look at the
Kevin
guys that were
Knox.
drafted after that at that point in that draft. Like, oh, they didn't get Herb Jones. They didn't get Io DeSimo. Let me say about Herb Jones. Herb Jones can
Is a
eat
Herb.
a fucking fat shit. Like, literally the most overrated player in the league. Can't fucking shoot a three. Sucks ass. And is one of the most overrated defenders also in the league. I literally hope that he just eats a wet fart for the rest of his life. Fuck him. And then there's Io DeSunmu, who actually is just not good at the sport of basketball and has like a usage of fucking like 0.69.
Well, he's trying to take over for Lonzo, so
He sucks. I hate
they gotta let him
him.
soak up that shit.
Anybody that loves him is a fucking loser. Anybody that likes Herb Jones is a fucking loser. And all of you guys should never listen to me talk about these guys ever again on a podcast. And maybe you should never listen to me on a podcast again because I hate their guts and they're fucking scumbags and they suck at fucking basketball and they can both fucking fuck off.
And I think on that note, Jeff,
Can
you want to add something?
Sam,
Yes,
I can't follow that, but I just want to say one more thing about Cam Reddish before we switch the subject. I have a quick question for you guys.
Yes.
So Cam has taken 111 field goal attempts after this game. I want each of you to set a line. How many of them do you think have come between 5 feet and the free throw line?
8.
I would.
No, not the free throw line. 5 feet and the 3-point line.
8.
I would say, like, I want to say 6 or 7.
It's a little bit higher, but he's taken 15 from that distance.
I win.
Okay.
I win. Fuck you, Sam.
You do win. But this just goes to Schwinn's point about the role he's embraced. He's not it was actually jarring tonight when he attempted that late shot clock ridiculous 15-footer that didn't come close to going in, because me and Sam talked about those all the time last year. We were just like, God, this is like why like he's never going to put it together, because he thinks he's Paul George and he wants to shoot these shots. He doesn't shoot those anymore. They don't happen. Like, he shoots threes or he goes to the basket. And yeah, can he get better at shooting threes and making layups? Yes, he can. But that's much easier than the first step of coaching bad shots out of him. Like, we never thought we'd get to this point of, oh, he actually has an elite shot chart. Like we all love Quickly. Cam's got a much better shot chart than Quickly. That's not even close. Cam's shot chart is way better. Now Cam can't pass like Quickly can, which is fine. Like we don't need to compare the two players. I'm just saying Cam is he's a really useful offensive player right now, even though shots aren't falling, just simply because of the shots he's taking, and more importantly, the shots he's not taking. It's why I kind of am very sure it's sustainable. Like,
So I don't think there's this, I don't know, like I actually flat out asked this once to Part Now, because Part Now has access to like soccer data too. So in soccer, there's like these things that are called heat maps, and on heat maps you can see like where different guys touch the ball and like where their most active areas on the pitch are, right? Like where do they get the ball? Where you can like where do they move from essentially, kind of with the ball. Um, I don't know what the hell Cam's heat map is. I don't know what the fuck IQ's heat map is. I would imagine they're pretty synergistic. Like I imagine that they don't overlap each other. I imagine that RJ and Randall overlap each other a lot. I imagine RJ overlaps areas that Cam likes to be in a lot, and that Randall overlaps areas that he likes to be in a lot, except when Randall's at the 5, which I think is a totally different thing. Um, I just think like these are things that are worth considering when we're talking about these players of like how do they fit overall. And I know you weren't saying that, by the way. Just like, it's an interesting conversation to have of like where, like, how do you get guys going into their comfort zones and how do you get guys rolling? And I don't know if the Knicks have done a great job of like getting Cam rolling, but I do think the Knicks have done a good job of like getting Cam to understand what he is and isn't good at,
yeah,
and getting him to like actively pass out of bad situations, even if he's not creating an advantage, just passing out of bad situations.
you said it on the post game last night, Schwinn. You said you noticed, and it was so funny because it was in my notes. You said that you noticed 2 or 3 times when like the old Cam code almost came in and he almost was like, oh, it's Cam time. And then he like last second realized like, oh shit, I can't do this anymore, and passed it and reset the possession. I noticed the exact same thing. He literally was so close to pulling from like 15 feet at least two
Oh, he
times.
wanted
And
to
both
so
times,
bad.
yeah,
Everything in
he
his
wanted to
heart
so
was
bad.
like, "It's Cam time, baby!" Like I'm Paul George. Like it was, yeah, he was there, but
And he
he
didn't
pulled
though.
back, and like,
And that's what
yeah,
you're saying. Like that's credit to Tibbs, credit to the coaching staff. That's that Cam Reddish
yeah, you
is
and like we can shit on Tibbs all we want, but like you have to give him credit there. Then obviously, like if we're gonna assign him all the blame for this stuff, you got to give him credit. Um, but like end of the day, this guy, I look, I don't care what anybody says. I just think it's criminal what they've done to Quickly. Like I think it's like insane that he's not playing 30 minutes a night every single night. And I think it's insane that like his rotations are as stupid as they are. I think it's insane that Obi doesn't play 25 minutes a night. I think it's insane that like, especially with Mitch out, that we feel some obligation to play a fucking traditional center every fucking minute of the night. Like, I'm happy that Tibbs went away. He did the thing that we were like, oh my god, he's gonna do it. He did it. He did the thing. Will he learn from it? That's the thing that we never get the positive response on. Will he learn from it? Probably not. Probably not.
it is funny because you could make the argument that the 2 biggest wins of the season this season will both have come with Tibbs finishing with Randall and Obi. And after the Philly game, he was just like, "Well, I've got longer rope. I guess I'll just go back to what I know works."
Right.
Is he just
Right.
gonna do that again? I guess we'll see.
Before we end off, I'm not sure if we talked about Sims enough.
Definitely not.
Love
Yeah, I
him.
mean,
Love him. Love him. Love him. Love him. Get trade Mitch. I'm out. I'm so done with Mitch. If we want to
3
maximize Obi,
steals, 2 blocks tonight. I mean, the energy that he brings, the vertical threat that he brings as a lob threat for Emmanuel Quickly, in those situations and just in general. I mean, he at first he looked a little rough when he first started playing, but I think as he's gotten more time to warm up on the court and get more reps and get into rhythm, he's really found himself and he looks better than he did last year, which is impressive. And definitely encouraging for the future of him on this team.
I have I have a question for you guys,
Hmm.
because somebody asked me in a thread about Sims. So they said, what do you think his median outcome was? Or excuse me, they asked, do you think he is a rotation player? And I said, I think we can pretty comfortably say his floor right now is like a 10 to 15-minute rotation player. But then that got me thinking, what are legitimate paths to improvement for him? Or do you think he's just like a low ceiling, he's gonna like, this is what he is and like this is good enough, but there's not like legit like he's never gonna like stretch the floor or like initiate offense or like, so what are legitimate paths to like being better than this version of him, just sort of rounding out the edges?
Yeah, I think what we saw in summer league is like what we think is a more finished product of Jericho Sims. At least when he was like playing really well in summer league this year. I think that's what we see as a more completed version of Sims. Just smarter in his decisions, being more aggressive at the basket. I thought like that's something that he did really well at summer league. We still see the times where he's under the basket in the NBA and he will pass it out. So just I think stuff like that, just cleaning up stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good answer, I think. Schwen?
I'm pretty high on Sims. Fuck it. Who cares? I think I think he's gonna end up being better than Mitchell Robinson. Um,
That's so strong.
I think
That's,
he's
I
a
mean, I
more
hope you're
versatile.
right.
I think he's a more versatile defensive player. I think he provides you more versatilities in ways that matter in the modern NBA. I think that he has the ability to grab offensive rebounds and do more with it than try to rush up and finish it, because you have small hands, inadequate hands that can't handle being in traffic. I think he can set real screens, which matters to running an
He's the best
actual
screen setter
NBA.
on the team.
Yeah, he can actually set screens, which matters to an NBA offense. I'm over Mitch Robinson. I would trade him in a second. I think people that wanted to do that before the offseason were probably right. I also understand why you don't want to lose the asset for nothing. Part of the equation of losing the asset for nothing is that you end up trading the asset for something. So we will see if this front office can trade this asset for something. And we will also see what happens when Mitchell Robinson comes back. Because when Mitchell Robinson comes back, I think the Knicks had a losing record with him now. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I don't remember specifically when was the game that he got hurt.
Well, so he was definitely in the Bucks game when
Hmm.
we lost to Milwaukee. All right, now I have to say.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking about like when that actually
Either way,
was.
I know the net rating stuff. He's not had like a great okay, the Knicks just fucking fall apart when he doesn't play
He's
record.
played 8
For
games.
yeah, and I just look. Do I think he's a bad player or he's a useless player? No, I don't. I think he's a very useful player. I think there are things that he does that help add wins to your record. But if we're gonna be real, if we're gonna be fucking real about this team, if they can't trade Randall, and I think this is like a reasonable thing that we need to accept. If they can't trade Randall because trading Randall will just require them to dump too much draft capital, if that's the world we got to live in, then you got to get rid of Mitch. I think that's just a fact. You got to, because they don't work together. And not only do they not work together, but they exacerbate the issues that you have with RJ and Randall, which already exist no matter who the fuck you play at center. So it is what it is, but I think Mitch is short.
Spacing matters a lot if you keep a lot of these pieces
Yeah,
here.
and you know what else matters a lot is just actually setting contact on screens. So
The thing is too is that
if Mitch ever wanted to do that, I would change my tune. I'd tell you that. But he doesn't want to. Doesn't want to. He's never shown any ability or desire to. So I have no reason to project that onto him. and he can go fuck himself.
Oh my gosh.
The thing is too is that
Drunk Schwinn, everyone.
Obi and Randall playing together matters, but we're starting to reach the point where RJ at the 4 matters too. I think we're learning very quickly that he's not a shooting guard. He's and like he is a small forward, but he's a small forward who needs to lean towards a point power forward if he's gonna take a step or two as an initiator. He's just
We're
he's
also
never
learning that Obi and Randall at the 4 or 5 is a weapon.
right. Yeah, for sure. No, I agree, but I think RJ at the 4 with like Sims at the 5 could be a weapon too.
But like what we're talking about is like optionality here. Like we don't have optionality with Mitch. Like there's no
Oh,
optionality. Like
I
no,
I
I'm
agree.
agreeing with you.
That's what I was
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
I was saying
Yeah.
that in support of your point that getting rid of Mitch not only opens up minutes for Randall and Obi, but it allows you to then take the next step of diversifying RJ and Cam's minutes, letting them play some stretch 4. Because to your point of what you just said, Tibbs is rigid, but I can't believe I'm going to say this because I don't mean it as a defensive Tibbs, but the people he plays the most, and he kind of has to, are also the team's most rigid players. Like if he had nothing but these diverse players that can play across multiple positions.
We've seen it. No, you're right. We've seen it. We've literally seen it. Like when injuries have forced his hand and he doesn't have a Randall, he doesn't have a Mitch, and he has to play like he's shown his ability, like, yes. Like, and this is what we don't know. Like, this is why it's so confusing. It's like we've seen Tibbs be very creative. But his creativity only comes out when he's given a short stack, right? Like when he's got less to work with.
Yeah,
And similarly, we only see the diverse lineups when he doesn't have the Mitchell Robinson at the 5 who can only play the 5 type of shit.
Yeah. All right. I think this is a very great place to end off. Much positives. I know our friend Severinks will probably have much more positive things to leave in the comment section this time as opposed to the last post game. You can actually now check out these on live replays. We have live replays of the post game show giving the next morning. So if you want to check that out, usually around 10:30 in the morning or so, I schedule them for. Or you can just stick around for the audio version. That's always cool too. Subscribe. We are on our way to 1K subs, so definitely help us out there. Leave a like. It definitely helps with the YouTube algorithms and whatnot. And helps get us out there to more Knicks fans that may not be aware of us. Check out the links in the description for everything Strickland related. We have links to the site, the Twitter to follow us there, the merch so you can get cool stuff like what Jeff is wearing, and the Patreon, another great way to support us, and you get access to the Discord where the conversation never ends with a whole bunch of Knicks fans. So we will be back after the game on Friday versus the Warriors. Hopefully that is another win. Warriors have been struggling lately, so maybe we could take advantage of that. We will be back then. That is on Friday. Peace out.